Good morning, my crafty friends, and happy National Scrapbooking Day. If you follow me on Facebook, you know that I mostly post cards, and that's because that's what I mostly make nowadays, are cards. But I am an avid scrapbooker, so you probably didn't know that about me just based on my content. I thought it would be fun to jump on today and maybe try to throw together a scrapbook page and kind of give you some tips and such. So if you're watching, say hello and let me know if you're a scrapbooker. Where are all my scrapbookers out there? I love scrapbooking. I always have. I actually started as a scrapbooker. I was a different kind of scrapbooker, I think, in the beginning. In the beginning, it was all about, we went on vacation and I always had to put everything in albums. And so it was a little more just putting together photo albums with journaling. It wasn't really a lot of scrapbooking. It wasn't all the fun papers and embellishments and everything that you can do with scrapbooking nowadays. And then when I got introduced to card making and realized that I could actually do both with the products, it was kind of like a win-win. So I have made, I literally have so many scrapbooks. So every vacation we've ever gone on, we have a scrapbook for it. And my children have probably, I'd say, 10 to 12 scrapbooks each. I believe I have probably 9 or so for each of them that is basically their life, their chronological life growing up. And they have those books now. Like, I gave them to them. It was a gift to them because I decided that I wasn't going to move those around with me, that eventually they're going to be theirs anyways, right? They're eventually, when I'm not around, those books belong to them. So I decided they should have them now. And, sorry, I'm multitasking. Getting out one of my albums too. And then I also have scrapbook albums for them that are like one for Tyler for his entire, like all of his tennis. All the tennis he did growing up, so he kind of has a whole album that's just nothing but tennis. He has another album for like Boy Scouts, and Jordan has an album for Girl Scouts and for her softball. So they have several albums each. And then I don't know how many albums I have. All of our vacation albums are actually here with us, and they are in my room, and I have a lot. So I love scrapbooking. I was so focused on it. Even when I was teaching my card classes, I still was really focused on scrapbooking, and I always had a scrapbooking club that met every month. And I never really got far behind. So I was one of those crazy people that could say they were caught up quite often on their scrapbooking, which most scrapbookers can't say that. I'm just a little OCD. So I was very good about, we'd go on vacation or we'd have an event and I would immediately print the pictures. And after I printed the pictures, they would come, like if I picked them up from, say, CVS. So they come in like this little envelope, and then I would label it what it was. So I always had these envelopes, however I stored them. Sometimes they were just regular envelopes, and I just had them in a bin. And every chance I got, I would pull them out and I would try to work on those scrapbook pages. I also was super efficient when it came to the kids. When I was scrapbooking, say, Christmas, they both have the exact same Christmas layouts in their books every year, but with different pictures, because there was no need to create it twice, to do 2 different layouts. So it's not like they're going to compare their books later and go, oh my God, my layout's the same as yours. And it just made it so that I could stay on top of it. Like, it's all, like, to me, scrapbooking is all about getting the pictures and the story on the paper, but doing it quickly. Like, you just don't want it to take a long time. So you still want to enjoy it. So you're not trying to rush it. So don't get me wrong. So that's just a little background story. I do love scrapbooking, and today is National Scrapbook Day. So in honor, I thought, well, why not? I've got some pictures that I need to scrapbook, so maybe I will try to whip something up on camera and just give you some tips as I go. So if you're watching, say hello and let me know, are you a scrapbooker, or are you interested in learning how to scrapbook? Because I do love teaching it as well. I'm gonna jump in. So back in November, my husband and I went on a little mini vacation. He was out in California for work, so I joined him for the weekend. And one of the things we did was we went to this vineyard, and the vineyard was called Corsi Graves. If you're ever out that way near San Francisco, 100% recommend it. It was the best like wine tour I think we ever could have done, and honestly, I don't know that one would ever be better. It was really that good. So I am going to use that as my inspiration for today, and I am using some products we have called, it's our Nature Walk designer paper. We also have Nature Walk, it's called Exploring Nature. This is two-tone solid cardstock that goes with it, and we have a sticker sheet, and I apologize if there's a glare from the halo, from the light. I'll pull all this out of the plastic here in a few. So I decided that's what I'm gonna use. This is kind of a nature event, so I've already kind of peeked through my designer paper, and I've already picked out some pages I like, but you can see that there's just a lot of really like pretty paper that's included, and it's all double-sided, so you know, if you don't like one side, you might like the other side. And what I love about scrapbooking is that you don't need a lot of this paper, so you can just lose little bits and pieces, or if you have a lot of pictures, the pictures will cover up if it's too much of a design. So I have pulled out, I want to use some of these papers. They just kind of speaking to me for some reason. I'm not using the other side, although the other side of this one is really pretty. It's a script, like, you know, actually things written in cursive, which nobody does anymore. So I might have to use that for a different page. So I like those colors. And then out of the solid colors, I've already decided I'm going to use this color here. It is two-tone, so one side's a little darker than the other. So you can, like, there's just so many options you can do. Our two-tone paper is really nice too. It is white on the inside. So if you like to do tearing of anything, especially scrapbooking, I find like tearing is a little more popular in scrapbooking. You can tear like an edge off and create a border. It'll be white when you tear it, which is kind of cool. Our solid cardstock doesn't do that. It's dyed all the way through. So all of our two-tone cardstock packs come, and they have like different colors. So you can see that there are just different colors to choose from. And they all coordinate. So all of these designer papers, the two-tone cardstock, all goes together. We have so many products on our website for memory keeping that all just coordinate together. And just that's what makes it easier, is that we've got all of these coordinating pieces. I also, one of the things I do is on our back side of our designer paper, it actually gives you the list of all of the colors that are in the designer paper. So what I have done is I've pulled some of those colors in our solid cardstock, because I may want to use these for matting the photos. So I've just pulled that out so that I'm prepared ahead of time with my coordinating colors. I'm just gonna move that out of the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and take the sticker sheet out so that you can see what our sticker sheet looks like. So we have a couple different kinds of memory keeping products. One of them we have like full-blown kits. And so in the kit, you're gonna get solid cardstock, you're gonna get designer paper, and you're gonna get a couple, like a sticker sheet, usually die cuts as well. There's a little bit more than buying them individually. You can also just purchase the products separately, which is what I've done here. And this is nice. These are all stickers. They all have adhesive on the back. Somehow I'm going to try to use these in my layout. So I'll set that aside. I move that out out of the way. I've got my paper trimmer here. So what I started with was I pulled out the pictures from the day that we did the wine tour, and I decided which pictures I want to use. So this is kind of where I started, was these are the pictures that I want to use. These two are still full 4x6. I have not cut them down, but I went ahead and cropped, like this one had some extra grass down here, and I just didn't need all that. So I just made it smaller because you don't need all the pictures to be full size. I likely will crop this as well. I just don't know yet until I get going. So I didn't crop it yet, and I may crop that too. I just think that's such a cool picture though. That's how they store all of their barrels of wine. They had like several corridors that had just barrels like this. It was very cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the pictures aside, and I'm gonna pull out, this is the color I decided I want my layout. So I'm gonna do a double layout for this because I have 5 pictures that I wanna use. Now let me see if you can see my whole layout or not. Waiting for the video to catch up. No, I need to move it over a little bit. This is hard. Like normally I'm just doing a card, and card doesn't need as much viewing space as doing like a layout. All right, let's see. I moved it over. Let's see if that makes a difference. I gotta wait for the video to catch up. Oh, still need to move it over some more. Maybe if I just stand up and look, that'd be easier. Okay. So that's what I've decided is going to be my background. And now the next thing I want to do is I kind of want to figure out, how do I want to lay out my pictures? And so I think what I want to do is I'm going to kind of just lay out some of these, just kind of just see, like, what do I think? I may cut this one down so that I can do these on top of each other, and then have this here. I could even put this up here so that I could do some journaling down here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm gonna kind of go with something like that. Now what I want to do is figure out, like, how do I want to use this designer paper? And I think I want to use this piece across the bottom. I just want to maybe create some a different color. And you know, if you've watched my videos about card making, you'll know that I like to cut paper with intention. And what I mean by that is these are 12 by 12. So I want to make sure that I can maximize this paper, and I can use this paper for cards and scrapbooking. But for scrapbooking, it's similar to the cards. You know, if you want to create something that goes across both pages, you could do 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches. You wouldn't want to do 7 inches because then you would need 2 sheets of paper instead of 1. So that's what I mean by cutting with intention. I'm actually going to do 3 inches, I believe. I'm going to do 3 inches across the bottom. So I'm going to get out my paper trimmer, and I'm going to line it up at 3 inches. I'm going to cut 1 strip, and I'm going to cut a second strip at 3 inches. Now I still have 6 inches left of that sheet that I can use on another page. So I'm going to just lay these across the bottom. Oops. Just to get an idea, that's the start. Move this up here out of the way. And then, because there's just too much of this solid color, I am going to add some cardstock, some designer paper across the middle. And for that, I'm actually thinking I might do a 6-inch piece. And just for fun, I'm going to measure. So if I do 6 inches, I'm just trying to see how much of a gap that creates. I don't really want to do more than 6 inches, quite honestly, because I want to maximize this paper. So we're going to work with the 6 inches. I might be thinking I should have done that 4, but that's okay. That's half the fun. So we're going to come in and cut this at 6 inches. And that piece then is going to just go across, and maybe we'll just line it up with this piece. It's going to go across here. So we can pull our photos out and line this up. Again, bringing our photos to the front. All right, so we're starting to come together a little bit. If you're watching, make sure you say hello. Again, I'm just doing this on the fly. I have honestly I've never done anything on the fly before. I always put so much thought and time and effort. Sometimes I draw things out because I have ideas in my head, but I am doing this 100% on the fly. I am going to crop this photo down just a little bit because I need some balance. They're not really balanced very well. So I'm just going to come in and take a little bit off the bottom. And then I'm going to crop a little bit off of this one so that I can get them the same, about 5 1/4. All right, so now, because I do believe that there is such a thing as balance when you're scrapbooking. I don't know that I can explain what I mean by that, other than now it looks balanced to me because those pictures are the same size. So the next thing, I'm looking at this thinking, okay, I really need some mats for my photos. So there's like a couple of different ways you can do that. One thing that would be kind of fun that I might do is I might create I might add another piece of paper that goes all the way down, and then I could mat these even on white. So then that would be 12 inches. And then I could make it like 12 by 5. So let me get out of the solid cardstock pack and let me just look and see what colors might work there. This is just where you kind of just have fun with it, like what colors really work. I mean, I kind of like the darker color actually. So we're gonna use that, and I'm gonna cut that. I forget what I said. I think I said 5 inches. Yeah, I just want it to hang over a little bit, so we're gonna do 5 inches. We'll start with 5 by 12. And I don't think I'm going to actually do the whole, I don't know. Let me see. I'm going to put the strip down first. Bring my photos back out to the front. And because this color is pretty dark, I definitely am going to mat my photos. I believe I'm going to use white. So these photos are 5 1/4 by 4. So just like my card making, I am going to add 1/8 of an inch. So 5 1/4 makes it 5 3/8. And then I'm going to make it 4 1/8. I need 2 of them, so I'm going to cut off 1/8 first. I've done this a few times, so I just know the math. So now when I cut this at 4 1/8, these 2 pieces are both 4 1/8. And I'm going to put that temporarily behind behind the pictures because I want to see if I like it or don't like it. I like how they pop. So the question is, do I want this piece to be 12 inches long? I'm not really sure. Let me just, for fun, I'm going to bring it down just a little bit to see. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut off. See, I don't want it to go all the way to the top and bottom. So I'm going to cut off. I'm going to start by cutting it to 11 and a half. So I'm going to just cut a 1/2 inch off and see what that looks like. And I bumped all my pieces here accidentally. So there we go. So now we have this at 11 and a half. Once I've decided that I'm going to mat these in white, I will go ahead and tack them down. But right now, this is kind of my thought process when I'm working on a page. I like to get an idea of kind of where I'm putting everything before I start gluing and taping things down. So the next thing is, what color should I mat the other photos? And I have to say, I'm actually half tempted to do them all in white, to just pop them off of the page a little bit. So maybe I will go ahead and cut some more white mats. This one, let's see, got balmy blue here. No, the balmy blue doesn't work. I also have Secret Sea. I don't know. I think I'm going to be sticking with white. But just for fun, I'm going to pull out Crumb Cake because this has got Crumb Cake down here. So I just want to see if I might like the Crumb Cake on there. No, we're going to stick with white. So this photo, this one I know is 4x6. And I think I'm probably going to leave it 4x6 because, again, I'm looking for some balance. So I'm going to start by cutting a piece, a mat for that. I need it to be 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. Now, I'm just pulling from I have a whole drawer of white cardstock that I've just basically cut it in half. And it's my scrap pile. Like, I just pull it out to pull out my scraps. If I were actually sitting down making a bunch of albums, I would use full sheets of white cardstock, and I would cut it so that I could be a little more efficient with it. But for the sake of today, I'm just going to do it this way. So this photo is 5 1/8 by 4. So that means I need 5 1/4 by 4 1/8. And this other photo is 4 by 4 1/2. So I'm going to do 4 5/8 by 4 1/8 to mat that one. I have to tell you that this wine tour that we did was absolutely fantastic. We had like a private lady that sat with us. Her name was Joanne. She was so knowledgeable. She just kept bringing out more wine for us to try. And it's small groups. They don't do big groups. So, you know, we were there with Joanne. They had another person that had a group of like 2. So there's literally like 4 of us at once that were doing this whole wine tasting, which was really cool. So there we go. Now we've got that. Oh, that's right. I was going to maybe do some journaling in here. Oops. So I might leave that up here. So let me just figure out if I want to do some journaling. in here. I could do a piece that's, let's say we'll cut a piece 3 by 4. Yeah. 3 by 4. Right now I'm just cutting it white. And maybe I'll change it to a different color later, but we're gonna start with white. So that's gonna be for my journaling. So you can kind of see like it's starting to take shape. Oops, apparently I bumped that. There we go. And now what I wanna do is I kind of wanna look and see. I feel like I need something across the top of here. So I think what I want to do is bring in the same piece of paper that we used here, this cardstock, and I'm going to put a little strip behind that. So I am going to take this same paper and I am going to cut a couple of 1/2-inch strips. Well, I'll make it a little bigger just for the purpose of showing everybody what I'm doing. Make them 1-inch strips. Okay. So this 1-inch strip, ooh, I might even use the other side. Let's see, this is where you can get kind of creative because our two-tone has 2 different colors. And you can play with it. Do I like it that, or do I like the dark? If I can sneak this in here. There we go. So you can kind of look at it and decide like which one is better. Oof. And I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I actually think I like the dark better. I thought I was gonna like the lighter color better. So I surprised myself. So there we go. And that just adds, you know, just a little bit more interest to it. So the next thing to do is to start thinking a little bit about embellishments. And sometimes for me, the embellishments are the hardest part because I mean the pictures are the easy part. The designer paper is awesome, and I don't know. I kind of feel like which ones I like. This collect beautiful moments, and these are stickers. So because they're stickers, I don't want to actually peel it off of there yet. So I am going to cut it out, but leave it. I don't want to expose the stickiness yet, but I just want to figure out which ones I want to use here. I kind of like the Take the Road Less Travel, Chasing Adventure, Walking Through Nature. That's kind of fun. There's a couple leaves that would be fun. The Best View, or the view from the top. See, there's so many good choices that I'm not sure what to do. I kind of like this this too, but see, like I said, to me this is the hardest part. It's just trying to figure out what I want to do. The Beautiful Day would be nice too. That's a good one. So this is where I go, okay, come on, Tracy, you just need to start picking some out that you want to use. I'm going to use the view from the top, I think. So let me cut across. Hopefully it's not too dark, but I just kind of like that view from the top, maybe over here. And I may use the words over here, the collect beautiful moments. How about one of these tags would be fun, like this little tab. Put that at the top of that photo, maybe. Or even on the side. Be fun on the side over here. That'd be fun. There we go. I like that. Although I might go with the darker one. Let me cut out the darker one because I think I might like it better. Like I said, getting the page to start to come together to me is the easiest part, and this is the hard part. It's just the decorating, and there's just, I love decorating. So I'm gonna pull out. So I'm also going to do, I did pull out a couple stamp sets that I thought I might use. I pulled out some my alphabet set here because I could create some sort of title. And I might even, I could do something like vineyard. So I might do that. And then I was thinking that I really liked the Capturing Smiles stamp set with this camera. And so I was actually thinking about cutting out either the large camera and putting it somewhere on the page, or even some of the little cameras. So I might be adding those in as well. I'm just kind of trying to like walk you through the thought process of kind of what I'm thinking of, and give you just an idea of how this doesn't have to be difficult. All right, so I'm going, oh, I like this one. I'm looking at some more of the words. And I like this things to note. I also like the one that says today was, and the one that says documented. So let's figure out which one I want to use. I'm thinking I want to use some things to note. I think I'm going to do that on my journaling. Like kind of make that kind of the header of my journaling piece. And then I'm going to cut out these pieces here, or at least one of them. I'm going to cut them both out for now. Because I think somehow I'm going to use those, and I may use these. Oh. Interesting. I thought this was like a tag. I thought this was 2 large tags, but it's actually 4 little tags. So that was not quite what I thought that was going to be. So let's do this. I'm going to cut out the circle. I'm not sure yet on those. I think I'm going to do the collect beautiful moments over here, and I may add one of the leaves over here. There we go. I'll set this one aside. I'm still not sure I'm sold on this view from the top. So I'm going to cut out another one that says take the road less traveled. And we'll see. I think the view from the top to me, it's just too dark. I want it to be a little bit lighter. And it was just a little dark for what I was looking for. So I was just cutting off some more little pieces because you know what? Maybe I want to do something like that. That I like better. I can already tell. So it's just kind of a play with it and see what you think. There are a couple of leaves that I could use. I think I'll cut those out. If you're ever near San Francisco, I highly recommend you check out Corsi Graves Vineyard. It's very unique. When we got there, you can't just drive in. You have to have an appointment, so keep that in mind. You 100% have to have an appointment, or else they won't let you in the gates. And when you get there, it's gated, and you have to push the button, and they have to let you in. It's very kind of secluded, I guess you could say. They're not just letting everybody in. Which was kind of funny because we couldn't figure out how to get in at first. We told them we were on our way and thought they were gonna be ready for us and let us in, but we had to wait for a little bit before we finally got in. And then literally we got a private tour. They put us on a golf cart. We went around the vineyard. She showed us all these different things. It was just really well done. Okay, so I think for now, this is kind of what I'm looking at. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do a little creative time off the camera because I'm going to do some stamping. I'm going to go ahead and maybe stamp the camera and maybe come up with some sort of header here. I may even use my alphabet dies and do a header across the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on finishing those pages. And then once I get it finished, I'm going to post a picture of the finished page. So I hope you've enjoyed my little insight into how I put together pages. And if you have questions, I'd love to know it. If there's something you'd love for me to try to teach you about scrapbooking, just comment in the comment section and I'll take a look at them and see if I can help out. So check back with me later when I get this page finished, or these pages, because it's a 2-pager. I will post it so that you can see it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy National Scrapbooking Day.